Today, learn your place. It's over. You've never been strong.
Elena Harris stepped off the Greyhound bus in the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, Michigan, clutching her faded duffel bag like a lifeline. It was her senior year, and all she wanted was to blend into the background at Oakridge High School red brick building that loomed under the crisp autumn sky, surrounded by maple trees turning fiery shades of red and orange. Coming from the gritty streets of Detroit, where she'd bounced between schools more times than she could count, Elena had learned to keep her head down. But sometimes, fate has other plans. What if one girl's quiet resolve could topple a kingdom built on fear? As Elena walked through those double doors for the first time, she had no idea she was about to ignite a storm that would reshape the lives of everyone around her. The hallways buzzed with the familiar chaos of high school life, lockers slamming, laughter echoing, and the faint scent of cafeteria pizza wafting through the air. Elena, with her dark curls tied back neatly, and wearing a simple hoodie and jeans, navigated the crowd like a shadow. She wasn't here to make waves. Graduation was her only goal, then maybe college or a job far from the memories that haunted her. Her father, James Harris, a retired boxer sidelined by a knee injury years ago, had drilled into her the art of self-defense, not for glory, but for survival. "You don't pick fights, Elena," he'd say in his gravelly voice, "but if one finds you, end it with precision and grace." Those words echoed in her mind as she found her locker, twisting the combination lock with steady hands. But peace was elusive. The air shifted as a group approached, parting the sea of students like royalty. Leading them was Brooke Langley, the undisputed ruler of Oakridge High. With her golden waves cascading over a designer sweater, Brooke exuded confidence that bordered on intimidation. At 18, she had the school wrapped around her finger, cheerleading captain, homecoming queen, an enforcer of an unwritten social code. Flanking her were Mia Thompson, with her fiery auburn hair and piercing gaze, always scanning for weaknesses, and Lily Chun, brunette and observant, collecting gossip like currency. Trailing behind were Connor Langley, Brooke's brother and the star quarterback in his varsity jacket, and Jake Ramirez, lean and mischievous, always itching for a scrap. Brooke barely glanced at Elena, but that icy stare was enough to stake her claim. This new girl from the city was beneath notice, yet somehow a threat. Elena felt its subtle boundary drawn in the air. She lowered her eyes, focusing on organizing her books, but inside, a familiar tension coiled. She'd seen this before in Detroit. Silence could protect you, or it could invite predators. First period English class passed uneventfully, but Elena sensed eyes on her. Brooke sat a few rows ahead, whispering to Mia and Lily, their smirks like daggers. When the bell rang, the whispers followed Elena into the hall. "Who's the new girl from Detroit? Dresses like she's from the wrong side of town. Probably thinks she's tough." The words stung, but Elena gripped her notebook tighter, breathing evenly. She wasn't here to prove anything. Lunchtime turned the cafeteria into a theater of power. Brooke's table commanded the center, a spotlight where alliances were forged and enemies crushed. Elena chose a spot in the far corner, the loser's table, as it was known, unwrapping her sandwich in solitude. But solitude wasn't allowed. With a nod from Brooke, Mia and Lily rose, and Brooke followed, carrying a cup of cherry soda. The room quieted as they approached, phones discreetly raised to capture the drama. Brooke leaned in, her smile saccharine. "Eating all alone back here? We wouldn't want you to feel left out." Mia giggled, Lily smirked. Elena met Brooke's eyes calmly. "I prefer the quiet." Brooke's smile didn't waver. "Oh, too bad." Then, as if by accident, the soda tipped, spilling across Elena's tray, soaking her food and dripping onto her lap. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone laughed nervously. Elena didn't flinch. She set down her fork, stood deliberately, and carried the tray to the trash, wiping her hands methodically. Returning, she locked eyes with Brooke again. "Done yet?" The room held its breath. Brooke's composure cracked for a split-second, surprise flickering before she recovered. Elena shouldered her bag and walked out, leaving a stunned silence. Whispers erupted. She didn't even yell. Who is she? For the first time, the script had deviated, and doubt seated in the onlookers' minds. Gym class brought physical escalation. The field was damp from morning dew, and coach barked orders for laps. Connor and Jake, warming up with the football team, eyed Elena as she laced her sneakers on the sidelines. As the run began, Connor veered into her path, accidentally shouldering her. Jake followed suit on the next lap, jostling her hard enough to disrupt her stride but not draw the coach's attention. Elena adjusted, seamlessly shortening her steps, angling her body like a dancer evading obstacles. No retaliation, just fluid adaptation. From the bleachers, Brooke watched, her arms crossed, the smile fading into a thin line. Elena's unflappability mirrored back Brooke's growing frustration. As the day ended, Elena found a note taped to her locker. After school, behind the field house. Don't chicken out. BL. She folded it neatly, pocketing it as Brooke's group appeared at the hall's end. Their eyes met, a challenge issued and accepted with a nod. I'll be there, Elena said evenly. Brooke turned away, but her steps lacked their usual swagger. The afternoon sky hung heavy with clouds, mirroring the tension building at Oakridge High. Word spread like wildfire through texts and whispers, a showdown between the new girl and Brooke Langley. By dismissal, a crowd of over 24 students gathered behind the field house, forming a ragged circle on the grass. Phones were out, ready to immortalize the event. Brooke stood at the center, poised like a general, with Mia, Lily, Connor, and Jake backing her up. Elena approached steadily, her expression neutral. The air thickened with anticipation. Brooke sneered. I figured you'd bail like the coward you are. Elena's voice was calm. I said I'd come, and I meant it. The crowd murmured. Brooke signaled Connor forward. The quarterback lumbered in, grinning as he reached to shove Elena down, a move that had felled many on the field. But Elena pivoted swiftly, grabbing his wrist and using his momentum to flip him onto the ground with a thud that echoed. Gasps erupted. Connor's eyes widened in shock as he lay there, winded. Jake yelled, "My turn," and charged, fist cocked. Elena sidestepped, twisting his arm behind his back in a precise hold. He yelped, dropping to his knees. She held just long enough to make her point, then released. The crowd was silent, then whispers, "Did you see that?" She took them down like nothing. Brooke's face paled. In a surge of rage, she lunged from behind, aiming to tackle Elena. But Elena, senses honed from years of training, spun, caught her arm, and pulled her off balance. Steadying Brooke before she fell, Elena whispered, "You've never been strong, and you'll never break me." Releasing her, Elena watched as Brooke stumbled back, the crowd's allegiance shifting. Murmurs turned to awe. Brooke lost. Elena's the real deal. Brooke's eyes brimmed with unshed tears as she retreated, her entourage faltering. Elena exhaled, walking away as the circle parted respectfully. She hadn't sought this, but the chain of torment had snapped. The next morning, sunlight filtered through Oakridge's windows, but the halls hummed with a new energy. Clips of the confrontation circulated in group chats, replayed with wide eyes. Elena walked in unchanged backpack slung, steps measured, but nods of respect followed her. Whispers now praised. She's from Detroit, trained or something. Brooke, however, shuffled in defeated, shoulders slumped, alone. Mia and Lily passed without a word. Connor avoided her gaze. Jake skipped school altogether. At lunch, Brooke's central table stood empty, her isolation a stark contrast to the buzz elsewhere. Elena, at her corner spot, felt a twinge of empathy, remembering her own dark days in Detroit 2 years prior. Back then, a bully named Tara had pushed her too far, and Elena, losing control, had sent the girl to the hospital with a broken arm. The fallout, shunning, fear in classmates' eyes had forced another transfer. She wouldn't wish that on anyone. Rising, Elena carried her tray to Brooke's table. The cafeteria hushed. It's done, Elena said clearly. No more games. Let's end this. Brooke stared, stunned, as Elena returned to her seat. The room erupted in soft discussions. That was classy. She's got heart. Oakridge began to chong more casual cruelty, a subtle wave of empathy rippling out. That evening, Elena sank onto the couch in their modest rental home, the weight of the day crashing down. Images flashed, Connor hitting the ground, Jake's cry, Brooke's tremble. Fear gripped her. Had she gone too far? The front door opened, and James Harris entered, his old boxing glove slung over his shoulder from the community gym where he volunteered. Seeing her distress, He sat beside her. "Rough day, kiddo." Elena confessed everything, tears welling. "I'm scared I'll snap again, like with Tara." James listened, then placed a hand on her shoulder. "You didn't this time. You controlled it, protected yourself without destruction. That's growth." His words soothed, reminding her of his lessons. Martial arts for mastery over self, not others. "Real power is knowing when to stop," he added. Elena leaned into him, finding solace. She wasn't alone, and tomorrow, she'd face whatever came with that anchor. But the storm wasn't over. The following day, another note appeared on Elena's locker, behind the field house after school. "Show up or be exposed as a fraud." BL. Elena's pulse quickened, but she met Brooke's challenging stare down the hall. "I'll be there," she affirmed. The school buzzed with anticipation. Classes dragged, whispers built to a fever pitch. At lunch, Brooke boasted loudly, but Elena remained serene, her calm amplifying the tension. Dismissal brought a larger crowd, the circle tighter. Brooke stood defiant, her group arrayed like soldiers. Elena entered, and the silence was deafening. Brooke taunted, "Today, you learn your place." Elena warned, "You'll regret pushing this." Connor charged again, but Elena felled him swiftly. Jake followed, subdued in seconds. Brooke's scream pierced the air as she attacked wildly. Elena caught her, steadying her once more. "It's over," she declared. Brooke crumbled, fleeing in tears as the crowd absorbed the truth. False dominance shattered against unyielding resolve. In the days that followed, Oakridge transformed profoundly. Elena's table filled with tentative friends, drawn to her quiet strength. Bullying fated students stood up for one another, inspired by her example. Brooke, isolated, grappled with her downfall. Sleepless nights brought realizations. Her reign was built on sand, eroded by fear's absence. Glimpses of Elena across the hall stirred envy, then reluctant admiration, though pride silenced any outreach. One afternoon, a shy freshman approached Elena. "You gave me courage to try out for drama club." Elena smiled faintly, her influence unintentional but profound. At home, she shared with James, who beamed. "You've rewritten the rules, Elena. Not with fists, but with heart." Brooke, meanwhile, faced her mirror each morning, the queen's crown a distant memory. Bitterness gave way to introspection. Perhaps true respect came from within. She never confronted Elena again, but in quiet moments, she pondered change. Years later, Oakridge alumni would recall Elena Harris as the catalyst who taught them that strength isn't domination, it's self-mastery and compassion. Elena graduated, pursuing a degree in social work, carrying her father's wisdom forward. The school became a place where dignity prevailed, a testament to one girl's stand. What do you think about the themes of violence and injustice in this story? Share your opinions in the comments below. Do you believe standing up with control is always the answer, or are there times when walking away is wiser? Take a stand and express your views. I'd love to hear how this resonates with your own experiences.